Is ShopPay hurting your average order value? Well, if you're an e-commerce brand on Shopify, ShopPay is now pretty standard all over the place. But as an optimization agency working with some of the top brands in e-commerce, we've recently discovered that ShopPay is actually lowering the average order value for some of these brands. And well, that's pretty bad. Now, I'm Raphael, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. We're a conversion optimization and landing page agency for some of the top brands in e-commerce. We're talking 8 and 9 figure brands like Dr. Squatch, Once Upon a Farm, Amika, and many more. And if we kind of go back to ShopPay, well, I know that saying that ShopPay could lower your average order value, I know that it might be a controversial statement. Now, I am not recommending to remove ShopPay from your website. In fact, I actually really like ShopPay. Right? And I do believe that it can potentially increase conversions in a lot of cases. But there are different ways to integrate ShopPay that could be problematic depending on the type of product or brand that you run. So I'll get into this in just a second, but let's first look at 3 different ways to integrate ShopPay into an e-commerce store. The first one, well, is directly on the product pages next to an add to cart button. The second is to have the ShopPay button in the cart or side cart. The third option is having the ShopPay button or option directly in the checkout flow. Now here's the deal. If you sell just a single product and you're okay with taking people straight to checkout, it's probably fine to have ShopPay in all those 3 options. But if you're a brand that sells multiple products, whether you're a clothing brand, fashion brand, you sell accessories or supplement brand, and you're hoping that customers will add more than one product to their cart, and you're hoping that they buy more than just a single product when they're making a purchase on your website, well then one of those options is problematic. And that option is also the one where you integrate ShopPay on your product pages next to the add to cart. Now, just a quick disclaimer, it's not because some of those things that I'm going to say are true for some brands that it's necessarily true for your brand. Gather your own data and do your own experimentation. But as an optimization agency looking at a lot of websites and running a lot of A/B tests, we have a lot of reasons to believe that ShopPay is hurting the average order value of brands that have large product catalogs. And here's a couple of those. The first reason is that, well, your add to cart button adds product to a customer's cart. On the other hand, ShopPay doesn't add product to a cart. It actually sends people straight to the checkout flow, right? So when people click on an add to cart button, then they can keep browsing, they can keep adding products to their cart. They may have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 products in their cart, and then they buy when they're ready. But ShopPay, if you click on the ShopPay button on a product page, it forces you to the checkout flow. This is the equivalent of stepping into a grocery store, picking up an apple, and then being instantly forced to pay for that apple and to leave. Not the best experience, right? So that's one of the issues. Another issue is that if you've already added a lot of products to your cart, right? So let's say a customer's added 5 different products to their cart, and then they get to a 6th product, but instead of clicking the add to cart button on that 6th product, they click on the ShopPay button on that product page. What's going to happen is they're going to be taken to the ShopPay checkout instantly, but that ShopPay checkout will only have that one product, the last product on which they click the ShopPay button on. So what that means is that the other 5 items that were in the cart are now being ignored and won't be part of the customer's checkout flow. So you can see how that is both a bad experience for the customer, but also probably a way that retailers are losing a lot of money. What the ShopPay button on the product pages does ultimately is that it stops the browsing behavior, but it also interrupts previous browsing or what people already added to their cart. So now you're probably wondering, well, hey, if I'm a brand that has a ShopPay button on my product page, what should I do next? Well, if I were you, I would do one of 2 things, or 2 things. First, well, the ShopPay button is not tracked as an add to cart, or it's not just tracked by GA by default. So the first thing I would do is I would add tracking to it. What that means is that later on, after I've accumulated a bit of data, I can go in Google Analytics and compare segments of people who added to cart versus people who clicked on that ShopPay button directly on the product page. Then I'll be able to compare those two segments and get an idea of, do I have a higher AOV when people click on add to cart, or do I have a lower AOV when people click on that ShopPay button right away? How does that impact conversion rate? But also, how does it impact the average quantity of products bought per transaction? So that data alone might give you enough information to simply decide to remove ShopPay or to keep it, from your product pages. And I have to say, we've run a lot of A/B tests where we've removed that button, and in almost every single scenario, we've seen an increase in average order value for our clients when that button was removed. So tracking is one thing, and it may give you enough information to make a decision, but alternatively, you could also just run an A/B test, where in one version you have both your add to cart and ShopPay button, and in the other version, you only have an add to cart button without the ShopPay button. So that's it. At the end of the day, to sum it up, ShopPay is great. But if you have a large product catalog and you want people to add multiple products to their cart, the issue with the ShopPay button is that it takes you straight to checkout, and if people want to buy more products, or if they already added a lot of products to their cart, they're going to be interrupted and they're only going to get to pay for that one product right away. So it may be hurting your user experience, maybe decreasing your revenue, and especially your average order value. So set up your tracking, consider running an A/B test, and I hope this video was helpful. If you like what you've heard, make sure to like and subscribe for more, and see you in the next video.